Hello students of class 8. In the story so far, the two gentlemen of Verona, uh, Valentine and Proteus were the two gentlemen of Verona. They were best friends. They were friends for a long time. They were almost inseparable. They did every work together. But the only time they separated was when Proteus went to meet Julia, and they were on the same page on every matter except for the topic of love. Valentine did not believe in love, and he also made fun of Proteus when he spoke about Julia. And Valentine also declared that he would never fall in love ever in his life. Then Valentine decided to go to Milan to make his fortune. Proteus was not very willing, but Valentine was determined. So they went, but with a promise that their parting won't have any impact on their friendship. Now, after Valentine left, Proteus wrote a letter to Julia. Now, Julia also loved Proteus, but Julia thought that it was below the dignity of a lady to be, to accept a man's love so easily. So she pretended indifference. So when Proteus had given that letter to Julia's maid, whose name was Lucetta. Now, when Lucetta tried to give the letter to Julia, she did not accept it. Rather, she scolded her for accepting the letter. But she actually wanted to read the letter. So she just called back and said what was the time. And Lucetta understood what was the real intention of calling back. So when she offered the letter, Julia became very angry that a maid should be able to read her mind so easily. So she tore the letter, and later on she tried to piece it together to read the letter, but she was unable to do it. So she wrote a much kinder letter to Proteus. Proteus was greatly delighted at receiving his favorable answer to his letter. And while he was reading it, he exclaimed, "Sweet love, sweet lion, sweet life." So Proteus was very happy. He never expected that, Julia would write a letter to him. So he was like, so very, carried away that he was reading out lines from the certain, phrases and words from the letter itself. In the midst of his raptures, he was interrupted by his father. "How now?" said the old gentleman. "What letter are you reading there?" So, when Proteus was reading the letter from Julia, Proteus's father comes into the room and asks that, "Whose letter are you reading?" "My lord," replied Proteus, "it is a letter from my friend Valentine at Milan." "Lend me the letter," said his father. "Let me see what news." So Proteus said, "No, nothing. This is just a letter from my friend Valentine." So his father said, "Oh, from Valentine? Yes. Why don't you give me the letter? I also want to read that letter." "There is no news, my lord," said Proteus, greatly alarmed. "But that he writes how well beloved he is of the Duke of Milan, who daily graces him with favors, and how he wishes me with him the partner of his fortune." So Proteus says that there is no such news in that letter. Only that Valentine has written that Valentine has gained a lot of favor from the Duke of Milan. He has become a favorite of the Duke of Milan, and he wants that Proteus should come and join him at Milan. "And how stand you affected to his wish?" asked the father. So it means that the father asked, "So your friend wants you to join him, but what do you want? What is your wish?" "And one relying on your lordship's will and not depending on his friendly wish, said Proteus. So Proteus said that, well, dear father, whatever your wish is would be my wish, because I won't go by the wish of my friend. Now it had happened that Proteus's father had been talking with a friend on this very subject. His friend had said he wondered his lordship suffered his son to spend his youth at home, while most men were sending their sons to seek preferment abroad. So, just before Proteus's father came into the room, he was having a talk with one of his friends regarding the subject of sending sons abroad. And the person had expressed his surprise at the fact that Proteus was, staying at home and he had not gone abroad. And the friend of Proteus's father had given, expressed his surprise that, why is he at home when others are going abroad to make their career. Seek preferment means career. Some, said he, to the wars to try their fortunes there, and some to discover islands far away, and some to study in foreign universities. So some have gone to, as soldiers, some have gone to, discover new land, some for higher education. And there is his companion Valentine. He has gone to the Duke of Milan's court, and leave alone the others. His own friend has gone to Duke of Milan's court. Your son is fit for any of these things, and it will be a great disadvantage to him in his riper age not to have traveled in his youth. So this friend of Proteus's father also warned him that he should go abroad and explore the world outside, because if he grows old without just by staying over here, then he will miss out on a lot of things which he should have known in his youth itself through his travels. Proteus's father thought the advice of his friend was very good, and upon Proteus's telling him that Valentine wished him with him the partner of his fortune, he at once determined to send his son to Milan, and without giving Proteus any reason for the sudden resolution. Resolution means decision. It being the usual habit of this positive old gentleman to command his son for not reason with him, he said. So, as soon means Proteus's father also liked the advice of his friend, and when he came to know that Valentine also wished Proteus to be with him in Milan, he at once decided that yes, Proteus is going to go to Milan, and he's going to go the very next day. And he was like, his decision was final, and he would he would not give an opportunity to Proteus to give his opinion or think about. It's like his decision was like a command, and he had to follow it. My will is the same as Valentine's wish. And seeing his son look astonished. Astonished means surprised, means what is my father saying? Look not amazed that I so suddenly resolved that you should spend some time in the Duke of Milan's court. For what I will, and there is an end. Tomorrow, be in readiness to go. Make no excuses, for I am peremptory. So, his father said that don't have that surprised look on your face, okay? I've already made the decision that you are going to go and join your friend at Milan, and that's it. I don't want to hear anything. You are going tomorrow, and I am peremptory. Peremptory means he is insisting on this very fact, and all of a sudden, okay, means he will not take any no from Proteus. Proteus knew that it was no use to make objections to his father, who never suffered him to dispute his will. That is, suffered him to dispute his will means never allowed him to, give his opinion. And he blamed himself for telling his father an untruth about Julia's letter, which had brought upon him the sad necessity of leaving her. So Proteus became very sad because now he had to part with Julia, and he was saying that he is himself responsible for all this. Now that Julia found that he was going to lose Proteus for so long a time, she no longer pretended indifference, and they bade each other a mournful farewell. And it's a sad farewell, with many vows of love and constancy. Constancy, that they now Julia, no longer pretended indifference. She also admitted the fact that she was equally in love with Proteus, and they bid goodbye to each other, but they made a promise to remain loyal to each other. And thus, taking a sorrowful leave, Proteus set out on his journey to Milan, the abode of his friend Valentine. So after Proteus and Julia exchanged rings, which they both promised to keep forever in remembrance of each other, and thus taking a sorrowful leave, Proteus set out on his journey to Milan, the abode of his friend Valentine. So what they did is that they exchanged rings with each other, and they made a promise that they will never take it off from their rings forever. And saying goodbye, he left for Milan the very next day. We stop here today. We will do the rest of it in the next class. Thank you.